Right now, as you're watching this, there's another version of you. Same face, same voice, same memories up to a certain point. But they said yes when you said no. They stayed when you left. They left when you stayed. They made the call you never made. They sent the message you deleted. They took the job. They asked the person out. They got on the plane. And right now, they're living the life you chose not to have. Not a better life, necessarily. Not a worse one. Just the other one. The one that exists in the space between what you did and what you almost did. Today we're going to go there. We're going to walk through the door you didn't open and see exactly what's on the other side. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you won't see your decisions the same way ever again. Before we go anywhere, I want you to think about something small. Think about the last message you typed and deleted without sending. You know the one. You wrote it. You read it back. And then you held your finger over send. And you didn't. Maybe it was to someone you loved. Maybe it was to someone you lost. Maybe it was something you needed to say for a long time. And the moment came. And you let it pass. That message still exists somewhere. That version of you that pressed send is living the answer right now. They know what happened next. They know if it worked. They know if it broke everything. They know if the other person cried or laughed or never responded. And you will never know. Unless we go there together. That's exactly where we're going today. Let's start with something real. In 1957, a physicist named Hugh Everett proposed something that the scientific community initially laughed at. He suggested that at the quantum level, reality may branch into different outcomes. Both outcomes happen in two separate but equally real versions of reality. He called it the many worlds interpretation. Today, it's one of the most seriously debated theories in quantum physics. Not science fiction, not philosophy. Actual physics, actual scientists, actual equations. What this means, if it's true, is that the version of you who took that job exists. The version of you who stayed in that relationship exists. The version of you who moved to that city, who called that person back, who said what you were too afraid to say, all of them exist right now, simultaneously, living full lives, feeling full feelings, loving real people, making their own decisions that create their own splits, an infinite branching tree of every version of you that could have been. And here's the part that stops people cold when they really think about it. None of those versions made the wrong choice. They just made a different one, including you. Now I want you to think about 3 moments, just 3. You don't have to share them with anyone. Just hold them in your mind while we do this. The first kind of decision, the person. There's someone. There's always someone. Maybe they came into your life at the wrong time. Maybe you were scared. Maybe you convinced yourself it wouldn't work. Maybe you just didn't say the thing you needed to say before it was too late. And now somewhere in another branch of reality, you said it and they heard it, and something happened because of it. Maybe it was beautiful, maybe it was a disaster, but it was real, and that version of you knows something you don't. They know what happens when you stop being afraid of the person who makes your hands shake. Think about who that person is for you right now. You know exactly who just came to mind. The second kind of decision, the risk. There was something you wanted to build, something you wanted to try. A business, a move, a creative pursuit, a complete reinvention of your life. And you looked at it, and you calculated the cost, and you decided the floor was too far down if you fell, so you stayed where you were, safe, stable, slowly wondering. But in another branch, you jumped, and that version of you is either flying or they fell, and they got back up, and they're still going. Either way, they know something you don't. They know what you're actually made of when comfort isn't an option. The third kind of decision, the moment you stayed silent. This one is quieter than the others. It's not a dramatic fork in the road. It's just a room and something that needed to be said. And you didn't say it. Maybe to protect someone. Maybe to protect yourself. Maybe because the moment passed faster than you expected. And now that unsaid thing lives somewhere inside you, taking up space. But in another branch, you said it. And the room changed. And whatever happened next, happened. And that version of you isn't carrying it anymore. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. And I want you to stay with me through this part because it's the part that matters most. If every unchosen path created a version of you that's living it, then right now, there's a version of you that's genuinely happy in a way you're not. Not because they're better than you, not because they got lucky, but because they chose differently at one specific moment. Maybe just one, and that one moment compounded into a different apartment, a different relationship, a different career, a different version of Tuesday morning. And here's the question that version of you would ask if they could see you right now. Why didn't you just do it? Not judgmentally, not cruelly, just genuinely confused. Because from where they're standing, the thing you were afraid of wasn't as big as you made it. The fall wasn't as far. The rejection wasn't as permanent. The risk wasn't as fatal. But here's the other side of that. Because this story isn't just about the versions of you living better lives. There's also a version of you who made the choice you were too scared to make. And it broke them. The relationship didn't work. The business failed. The move was a mistake. And they're sitting somewhere right now, wishing they had your life, wishing they had your Tuesday, wishing they had made the safer choice. Both versions exist. Both are real. And neither of them is more you than you are. So let's do something strange. A quick audit, not of your life, of the life you almost lived. Think of the version of you that pressed send, or took the job, or said the thing out loud. Now ask 3 questions. First, what did that version gain immediately? Not long term, not someday, immediately. A new conversation, a new door, a new consequence. Something shifted the moment they chose differently. Something real happened. Second, what did they lose immediately? Because every yes costs something. Time, stability, a relationship that stays peaceful, a clean story about who you are. Every door that opens closes another one behind it. That version of you paid something, and they paid it the moment they decided. And third, this is the one people avoid. What did they stop having to imagine? Because the unchosen path does something quietly brutal. It doesn't just stay closed, it stays unknown. And unknown is addictive. Unknown lets you keep the fantasy alive. The fantasy that it would have worked, or the fantasy that it would have ruined you. Either way, it keeps your brain running the same simulation, again and again and again. So here's the uncomfortable thought. Sometimes you don't avoid the choice because you're afraid of failure. You avoid the choice because choosing would kill the mystery. And mystery is easier to live with than proof. Read that again. You're not afraid of the outcome. You're afraid of losing the version of the outcome that only exists in your imagination. Because as long as you never choose, the perfect version of that life is still possible. Sit with that for a second. Psychologists have a name for what happens when we think about the paths we didn't take. They call it counterfactual thinking, and studies show that humans are uniquely wired for it. No other species on Earth sits and thinks about what could have been. Only us. Only humans lie awake at 2 a.m. running simulations of alternate versions of their own life. And for a long time, psychologists thought this was purely a source of pain, regret, grief, longing. But more recent research suggests something different. Counterfactual thinking, imagining the path not taken, is actually one of the primary ways humans learn. We don't just learn from what happened, we learn from what didn't happen but could have. The version of you that exists in your imagination, the one who took the risk, who said the thing, who stayed or left. That version teaches you something real, even if they only exist in your mind, even if the many worlds theory is wrong, even if there are no parallel universes at all. The unchosen path still shapes you, because you carry it. Every decision you didn't make lives inside the decision you did, and that weight is not a burden, it's a map. Here's what I want to leave you with, and this is the part nobody talks about when they talk about parallel universes and alternate timelines. Most people hear this concept and feel one of two things. Either they feel relief, somewhere out there, a version of me got it right, or they feel grief. I chose wrong, and now I'm living the lesser life. But both of those responses miss the most important thing. The branching doesn't stop. Right now, today, this moment, you are making decisions that are splitting your world. The version of you who watches this video and does nothing with it, and the version of you who watches this video and finally makes the call they've been putting off. Both exist after tonight. Both are real. Both will wake up tomorrow in the life their choice created. So, the question isn't, what did the other version of me do? The question is, what is this version of me going to do next? Because that decision, whatever it is happening right now, and somewhere, a version of you already made it. The only question is which version you want to be. Here's what this is really about. Not physics, not parallel universes, not science. It's about the weight we carry from the paths we didn't take, and the quiet question that lives inside every human being who has ever stood at a fork in the road and chosen one direction. What was down the other one? You'll never know for certain. But you know this: the decisions in front of you right now are creating the version of you that someone else will wonder about someday. Make them count. Before you go, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to answer in the comments. What is the one decision you didn't make that you still think about? You don't have to be specific. You don't have to explain it. Just tell me it exists. Because I think more people than you realize are carrying the exact same one. And maybe knowing that makes it just a little lighter, just in case.